Okay, just okay.
Oh, great, thanks.
Okay, so thank you for making our presentations. Our presentation topic is here. And the title is the papers versus pixel. And all people know the papers meanings, but pixels, yeah. Pixel is the one point to show some image on the monitor. Okay, do you understand? So if we want to do something on the monitors, the pixel together, and we can show some image and text on the monitor. So that is the pixel. So in the titles, pixel means that some electronic text and image. So this is mean that papers is a material to write and reading, and pixel is the means that some material to write and read electronically. Okay. So we have 4 members, and so we divide the 4 parts. First part is the introductions, and 2 and 3 part is the body, and conclusions is the 4 parts. So I will explain the first part, and Yan will explain the second, and Sid, right? Oh, yeah, okay. Sid will explain the bodies, and Yan last, right? Okay. You last will explain the conclusions. Do you know the he? No, he is a Chinese person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can
My
pronounce
ancestor.
his name. So can you pronounce his name?
It's Cai Lun.
Cai
Lun.
Okay.
Maybe my ancestor.
Very difficult
Maybe.
pronunciation.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he mentioned the papers in the very long ago. But yeah. However, but yes, there is a very interesting story. He could not have a baby.
Yes, I know.
Do you understand the question? Okay, that's true. Yeah. Okay. He mentioned papers. Paper is the very big invention in our world. So he made some process to making a paper. First, cut the trees, and people mentioned some trees, and they mixed something with the waters, and they dried that particles on some plate. So, yeah, it is a process in making papers. So after the inventions, the papers, that skills spread all of the world. Yes. Do you know he? He is the Stenberg. Yes. He invented the pressing printer. Okay. So we can use the papers and some materials to read and write because of these 2 people. So in the books, Ian Sasson said that if paper were to disappear, so everything would be lost. This is mean that paper is very important in our world. However, several years ago, we invented the computer. So these days, many people read and writing using the computers, and we can access any books using our tablet books. So yeah, over the last decade, papers using the amount of using the papers is decreased very sharply. This is because many books convert the electronically, and So many people use the computer and tablet PC to write and reading. So
You need
okay,
to
4
so-
minutes, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This article is what to discuss about the papers and pixel. Pixel is the labels of the papers or not, and the writers want to explain about the relationship between the papers and pixel. Next one.
And if you just compare the paper and pixel to us, and you really understand what is pixel, that is digital gadgets like everyone have in your hand. That is like iPhone, iPad, or your laptop are all the forms of pixel. So before I do my presentation, I want to do a survey in our class. And who in our class have a pixel, like digital gadgets in our class? Please raise your hand. Laptop, cell phones,
Yeah, everyone.
yeah,
I cannot.
almost everyone. And the next question is, so how many of you maybe download reading apps like Kindle or Rainbow or ebook readers in your laptop? And please raise your hand. Yeah. So I want to ask you, if you don't download this, how would you read some ebooks? And I want to ask Jean.
PDF.
PDF in the
Yeah.
PDF formats. So most of you prefer to read the ebooks. And the third question is, when you are on the bus, on the metro, on the train, on the plane, what is a must when you carry on these public transportations? I'll give you two choices. One is books, the other is ebooks, like this pixel or digital gadgets. What would you prefer?
Absolutely ebook.
Ebooks, right? Books,
Yeah.
it won't hurt your eyes. Be careful. And the last question is,
Huh?
and
I don't get you.
Books hurt your eye?
I don't get you.
When you move,
But
because
also,
when you are trained and you
But in
move,
But-
and it's
if
not
you
but
bad.
also
Ebook
you
is
you
the
also
same.
will move.
Yeah.
It's the
Ebooks
same.
also hurt your eyes.
Yes.
Be
Ebooks
careful.
also move.
But book is very heavy.
But
Books is very heavy.
because when I read the pixel in the box or train, it will
Yes.
make me dizzy. But when you read the book, it will make you more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
it
why I
depends.
read the book.
It
Okay,
depends.
so I think the results of the survey is most of us now prefer pixel instead of books. Yes?
Neither.
No,
Neither.
the degree. Okay, that is my question. So when compared of the printed forms and the pixel, that means that printed forms will die? No. Most of the people in our class gave us a negative answer. So why? Long before, French literature artisans guessed that modern technology, such as everybody in hand, that pixel, will replace books and periodicals in print. That means that it is very convenient, and we can hold them in hand, and whenever we go outside, we'll look at and hear the sound in it. Especially Einstein, he invented phonograph. If it serves me right, he gets that these portable devices would replace books and periodicals. And is it right? No, I don't think so. Others' guess was wrong. Printed forms went on being published and read in greater quantities with the arrival of technology gadgets. That means that the printed books will not die. So a great amount of people still need the printed books instead of the pixel. So let's compare the e-books and printed books. And some years later, Scottish novelist Morrison stated that is a quotation, within 25 years, the digital revolution will bring about the end of paper books. that is another guess that the end, the vanish of the paper books. However, the fact was that printed books still account for about 3/4 of the overall book sales in the United States, while e-book sales only rose a little bit. That means that most Americans still prefer books instead of e-books. That most of us disagree with this phenomenon. Recent survey revealed that the biggest fans of e-books continue to purchase a lot of printed books. That means that although a lot of fans that they are e-book fans, they won't buy all of these e-books. They still prefer to purchase a lot of printed books. So I just quote another claim from Clay Shirky and from our wiki. He said that printing press was clearly the right media for this, but book was wrong tool. It was too slow. He mentioned this when he explained the phenomenon that books was too slow. Why? When we do experiment, we need the speed. We need the sooner we know the results of it. But when we publish it, it needs a lot of time. Yesterday I had a lesson about how we write an article or research. Please look at the circle on the left of the screen. First we need to do is pre-write it, and then we draft it and revise it, edit it, and then we publish it. I am taking a course about research. The professor said complete research needs at least a month, and very good, how to say, accurate research lasts almost a year and needs 3 or more people to finish it. But is it the truth that printing press will die? He later quoted that the scientific revolution hasn't been created if they didn't have a printing press as a tool. That means that printing press means a revolution of the scientific. That is very important tool. Okay, to conclude my presentation, I'll do another survey of it. The survey is only 4 questions. So, do you often go to the library to lend a book or to return a book as your research or to review your academic books? And if yes, please raise your hand. Yes, most of you. The second question is, when you are in a quiet room instead of noisy room, you want to do some research about your academic topic, or you want to prepare for the TOEFL examination, what will you prefer, e-books or books, printed ones? Books, yeah. And the last question is, if you want to refer a very accurate information, you want to the exact source of it, what would you prefer, the e-books or books, printed ones?
What kind of?
Exact source of information of your research.
They are the
What
same.
It depends.
Both, it depends.
It depends.
Because depends the way you find it. Because maybe you difficult to find a book.
Is it very difficult to find a book? If for me, I would rely on the books because it's more accurate and it's peer review. I think for me, I would prefer to go to the library to find the source. So after the 2 review, we come to a conclusion that books will not die. Instead, it will increase in a little bit. So what is the trend? We'll welcome Saeed to present some of the trends of the e-books and books.
Thank you. I want to make some something interesting about this title is that why I'm going to explain why paper is going to continue the increasing of the usage rather than pixels, which we usually use our cell phones or laptops or anything that has many digital PDFs and content that we can use for our reading. There are some evidence that Nicholas Carr provided for us. For example, the biggest fan of ebooks continue to purchase a lot of printed volumes. Also, print magazines seems to be stabilized this year. And some publications are struggling to survive, but others are holding on their readers. Owners of iPads, tablets, computers, 3/4 of them prefer to read magazines on paper, as you said. And a few major papers, for example, New York Times, Arizona Public, and Tampa Bay Times, they have even gained some print readers this year, and it's really interesting. There are some small examples that, for example, Washington Post has sold to another guy who owned Amazon, but it's not going to die. The Washington Post continue to give their information to people. So what's the reason of it? Also, I have a chart here that you can look at it. The percentages of people who use ebooks are 9%. It's really interesting that just 9% of people use ebooks, and some of these ebooks users also rent or buy books too. So the percentages is really small rather than other people who use paper prints and books. So the reason is that the reading is not just it's something that happens bodily. You cannot understand everything when you read something in the pixels. For example, if you remember, you were a child, you read some childish books. When you and you are much more older, so if you keep it in your hand and just wrap it and check the pages, you can find exact information that you read long ago and find that information very instantly. Why this happens? Because when you keep one book in your hands, you just have the content of that book in your mind. So it's the difference between you read something in the pixels and when you read something in the books. So I want to ask you a question about the readings. If you want to learn something new, for example, if you even want to learn one software, which do you prefer? Do you prefer to see some YouTube presentation of somebody who tutor in the YouTube, or any article in the internet, or rather you prefer to read a book that explains everything about that software?
Oh, you're combined all of this.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah, both. And sometimes I will look some journal.
Okay. Other?
YouTube, because I want to, for example, if I want to know how to use a camera, some function I'm not understand, I will to look at some videos on YouTube. It's a more specific for me.
Yeah, and that's why I want to ask this question, because I think rather than this article, if we go from two-dimension thing, for example, any text, to 3 dimensions, for example, videos or something like this, I think videos and 3-dimension works are better than text. It's just my opinion about this article. It's not anything more, and I want to Leila to conclude about this.
So, I'm about to conclude this presentation. I want all of you to anticipate what does author come up with at the end, ebooks or printed books. I know that everyone has problems with ebooks. For example, when I read the articles or paper through the computers, I can highlight some parts. Maybe I can highlight the PDFs, but I cannot summarize it in the margin and use it for the future. There is some problem with the electronic books, but it has some advantages. So no anticipation? Which one is better?
Books has its advantages and disadvantages.
Okay.
I think since today's advanced knowledge, it can be true. You can summarize or just write on the screen that the note page, that on the website you can write something on the side. It's just like the real book. That can be true.
So a survey showed that college students in United States prefer printed textbook to electronic ones. They said that traditional books are encourage deeper and more attentive reading and promote better understanding of the material. You know that this guy, Jan introduced him in her presentation. Ozan suggested that reading printed publication consumes a lot of cerebral phosphates. What does it mean? In other words, he believes that when you use the printed books, your brain consumes more phosphates, and it helps your brain, and it is desirable for your brain to develop. Here I want to say some advantages of the electronic book. It is more convenient. It provides links to other relevant publications. For example, it is not just some words on the printed book, but you can have some videos that is related to it, some other links, some other papers. Then you read the journals, the electronic forms, you can see the related topics, and it helps you to improve your knowledge about that topic. Their contents can be searched and shared easily with the others. And it includes animation and audios, and it helps you to understand it because it improves your perception, and you can understand it better since you see something that is linked to it. And it is better for glance rather than read carefully. If you just want to glance at something, not read it carefully, so it is better. When it comes to the topic of the ebook versus printed books, some people, some readers may agree with the printed book. Others may develop a particular taste for the digital, and still others may happily switch back and forth between two. And now I want to ask this question from you: that which of the persons with you you want to continue to read print books, or you prefer the electronic versions? Printed books? How about the other?
So for the textbook, I prefer the printed book. But for the other materials that I need to recommend, that I need to read to write the paper, I prefer the e-book, some electronic book.
I like the paper.
Why?
Maybe I think the reading is I like the reading with the feeling. You smile the ink, the smile of the ink, and you hear the when you flip the paper, that the sound you flip the paper, that will give you a feeling about the piece, and you can live in that world, in the author's world.
I prefer the print book. When I just read through the books, there are a kind of satisfaction when I finish that kind of thick book. That's what I feel about it. Yeah.
It really depends. If I would like to choose the e-books, if it is lecture notes and there's some formulas, it's not difficult to read to so many words. But if I have to read long article, I like to choose the print book because it can help me to focus on the words, and I can take some notes on the papers.
So what do you anticipate at last that is the printed book, the number of printed book increasing or decreasing? Answers?
Maybe increasing.
Increase?
Decrease.
I don't know.
How many of you believe that it's increasing?
You mean printed book?
Printed book is increasing.
Oh, printed.
Just one? And how many electronic books? No one?
Increasing.
How about the others? Printed books. How many of you believe that the printed book is increasing?
You said
Raise your
you
hand.
mean the percentage that
Yeah.
covering.
Yeah, the number of the printing book, the percentage of the printing book. How many? No one?
Jingjing.
Just Jingjing. Jingjing is right. This year in the United States, 2 million books and 350 million magazines were published. And something tells me that Tai Lun isn't turning in his grave just yet. So the conclusion is that the number of books and magazines are increasing. Although we think maybe it has some advantages and disadvantages, but if we want to increase our knowledge, to read carefully about something, to have more concentration, we need the printed books. But electronic books or electronic magazines can help us in the other way. For example, when I want to answer to some of the questions in my homework and I don't know where is it in that big homework, 1,000 pages homework, I just select the electronic versions and just search the word. So it appeared. It is in the page 272. And then I refer to the printed version and read it carefully and then answer the question, all the questions in my homework completely. You can use the both version to complete your knowledge. Yeah, each other. Do you have any other comments or questions?
It's also a good place to search articles. So instead, I mean, even the library used the database to search the printed articles.
Yes, and the other thing is that it stock lots of books in a very small volume of space, so it's really useful and that way too.
Yes, I think that you can have the book as a reference and use the article and paper to complete it. Because if you search for a particular paper, you cannot buy all the magazines and search among all the papers to find just the paper that you want. You can search it through the internet. But for the books, it is your reference. Anything that you don't know you don't understand from the paper, you can refer to the book. So it is important to have a print book. But for the other information, you can use the YouTube videos in the YouTubes, articles, all the things online, and add it to the reference book that you have at home. So no need to print all the articles, all the papers. Just have a printed book is enough for your future.
Yeah, and it's really environmental friendly and green because you don't destroy lots of trees and make them papers. And when I check my inbox every day, I can find lots of advertise that they are not really interesting, and I don't want to see them in my inbox, but I have to. I don't know why. So it's another problem of printing.
So in your word, you mean that e-books is for search and for entertainment, and the printed books are for study and research.
Yeah.
That's your point.
Because if you want to read carefully, you need books. E-books are for glancing.
Printed books are still resilient and popular in the future.
Yeah, and the textbook in US is so expensive.
Yes.
So when even though I have the electronic form of some textbook, I will print it.
Yeah.
I will print it out to read.
Yes, and that's why lots of people in America use rental books and they rent books rather than buy them.
Yeah.
And the market of renting books are really increasing because of the amount of money that they have to pay for a book. So that's the reason of the rental books.
Any
That's
other
it?
comments?
No.
Okay.